Hello, everyone. Have you ever felt it, that hollow ache, even when everything seems to be going right? That nagging whisper late at night asking, "Is this all there is? Is my entire life meaningless?" Today, we're going to plunge into a paradox that has echoed through millennia, a truth whispered by a man who had everything, only to declare it all vapor. This isn't just an ancient tale, it's a chilling reflection of our modern world. Forget what you think you know about success, happiness, or fulfillment. Because our protagonist, King Solomon, the titan of ancient Israel, built an empire of unparalleled glory, tasted every pleasure, grasped every wisdom, and then, with a sigh that could shatter mountains, concluded that it was all hevel-fey a breath, a fleeting mist, a chasing after wind. His journey is a mythic battle, not against armies, but against the insidious shadows within his own soul, a wrestling with the very fabric of existence. Prepare to have your assumptions challenged, because the answers lie not in what we gain, but in what we dare to truly see. This is the story of Solomon, a king who found the golden cage of ultimate achievement to be nothing but a prison of profound emptiness. Stay with us, because the desert wind carried whispers through the ancient world, tales of a kingdom blessed beyond measure, a throne bathed in an ethereal glow. At its heart sat a man, King Solomon, son of the legendary David, yet destined to eclipse even his father's formidable shadow. This wasn't merely a king, he was an oracle in flesh, a vessel chosen for a singular, monumental task, to build the first temple, a dwelling place for the Most High, a beacon of divine presence on earth. But before the first stone was laid, before the cedars of Lebanon were even felled, a profound moment shaped his destiny. The young Solomon, burdened by the immense mantle of kingship, stood before his God, not asking for riches, not for long life, not for victory over his enemies. His prayer, etched into the annals of history, was a plea for a discerning heart to govern your people and to distinguish between right and wrong. And in that moment, the heavens themselves seemed to lean in, captivated by such humility. God's response was swift and breathtaking. Not only would Solomon receive wisdom beyond any who came before or would follow, but he would also be granted wealth and honor, so that in your lifetime you will have no equal among kings. Imagine that, a divine blank check bestowed upon a single mortal. It was a blessing so immense, it almost felt like a curse in disguise, a burden of ultimate potential. The world watched breathless as Solomon's reign unfurled like a scroll painted with gold. His wisdom became legendary. From the famed judgment between two women claiming the same child, a tale of unparalleled insight, to his intricate knowledge of every plant, from the hyssop on the wall to the mighty cedar, and every creature, from the crawling ant to the soaring eagle. He conversed with kings, arbitrated disputes, and penned proverbs that distilled the essence of human experience into crystalline truths. His court became a magnet for the world's elite. The Queen of Sheba, renowned for her own sagacity and wealth, traveled across vast deserts, laden with spices and gold, to test Solomon with hard questions. She left utterly undone, proclaiming, "The half was not told me. Your wisdom and prosperity exceed the fame that I heard." His kingdom flourished. Peace reigned, a golden age of prosperity. Trade routes snaked through his territories, bringing exotic treasures from every corner of the known world. Silver became as common as stones in Jerusalem, and cedars as abundant as sycamores in the Shephelah. He amassed chariots and horses, built cities, fortified garrisons, and established a navy that sailed to distant Ophir, returning with gold, silver, ivory, apes, and peacocks. His palace, an architectural marvel, took 13 years to complete, a sprawling testament to opulence, dwarfing even the temple in its sheer scale. He had vineyards that stretched to the horizon, gardens blooming with every conceivable fruit and flower, reservoirs to water them. He owned vast herds of cattle and sheep, more than any before him. He had men and women servants, and slaves born in his house, and others he bought. He gathered for himself silver and gold, and the treasure of kings and provinces. He even had a choir, an orchestra of heavenly voices and instruments, to entertain him, and a harem of 1,000 wives and concubines, chosen for their beauty from across the lands. To the outside world, Solomon was the embodiment of human apotheosis, a living god-king, a man who had not just touched the sun, but had made it his personal lantern. Yet, beneath the dazzling spectacle, a whisper, faint at first, then growing louder, like the rustle of dry leaves in a mausoleum. He had achieved everything, possessed everything, understood everything, and with each new conquest, each lavish indulgence, each profound insight, the whisper grew. Is this all there is? It was a question that none dared to ask, a thought too dangerous to utter in the gilded halls of power, a nascent, creeping dread, a hollow echo in the chambers of his heart. The very gifts that made him unique also set him apart, trapped him in a golden cage of experience, forcing him to confront a truth that lesser men, entangled in the daily grind, never had the luxury to ponder. This was the beginning of his great experiment, a methodical, almost scientific quest to find lasting meaning, and so the king embarked on a journey, not across lands, but across the vast terrain of human desire. He resolved to test every pleasure, every pursuit, every avenue that promised happiness, to see if anything under the sun could truly satisfy the insatiable hunger of the soul. He declared, "I resolve to use my wisdom to explore and research everything that happens under heaven." This wasn't a casual exploration. It was an all-encompassing, no-holds, barred investigation into the human condition, fueled by unparalleled resources and a mind sharper than any blade. His first assault on the fortress of meaninglessness was fey pleasure fey, he thought. Come now, I will test you with pleasure to find out what is good. He built a reputation for lavish feasts, where the finest wines flowed like rivers, and the rarest delicacies graced his tables. Music, both soulful and ecstatic, filled his palaces day and night. He surrounded himself with men and women singers, the finest entertainers every diversion imaginable. He indulged in laughter, in revelry, in the intoxicating rush of sensory delights. Yet, as the echoes of the last song faded, and the taste of the finest vintage soured on his tongue, he wrote, "I said of laughter, it is mad, and of pleasure, what does it accomplish?" The thrill was ephemeral, the joy superficial, leaving behind an even deeper void. It was like drinking salt water to quench a thirst. It only intensified the craving, ultimately leaving him parched. No angel whispered comfort in these moments. Only the cold, hard logic of experience spoke, telling him that mere sensation was a hollow god. Next, he turned to fey wisdom and knowledge fey. Having been gifted profound insight, he pushed its boundaries further. He delved into philosophy, into the nature of the cosmos, into the intricate workings of human psychology. He mastered rhetoric, poetry, ethics. He sought answers in every text, conversed with every sage pondering the deepest mysteries. Surely, absolute understanding would bring solace, an end to doubt. He acquired books beyond counting, studied the ancient lore, yet this pursuit too brought a bitter harvest. The more wisdom, the more grief, he lamented, and the more knowledge, the more sorrow. With every layer of understanding peeled back, he saw not clarity, but an even greater complexity, a labyrinth of unsolvable problems, the inherent futility of human ambition, the brevity of life in the face of eternal questions. Knowledge without a higher anchor became a burden, a torment, revealing only the vastness of what he could never fully grasp, and the inevitable decay of all things. It was a cruel irony. The very gift that made him legendary became a source of his deepest anguish, an intellectual nightmare that offered no escape. Then came fey wealth, an achievement fey Solomon initiated grand building projects. Beyond his magnificent palace and the temple, he built cities like Hazor, Megiddo, and Gezer. He constructed store, cities, chariot, cities, and cities for his cavalry. He established vast vineyards and gardens, imported exotic plants, and created elaborate irrigation systems. He amassed unparalleled riches, fey gold, silver, precious stones. His personal fortune, he literally built an empire from the ground up, a testament to his power, vision, and the sheer force of his will. Surely leaving such an indelible mark on history, creating such monumental legacies, would provide lasting satisfaction. He watched his edifices rise, his coffers overflow, his influence expand across nations. He became the very definition of success. Yet again the shadow. I also acquired male and female singers. and many concubines, fey the delights of the sons of men. So I became great and surpassed all who were before me in Jerusalem. Yet when I surveyed all that my hands had done and what I had toiled to achieve, everything was meaningless, a chasing after wind. Nothing was gained under the sun. The grand monuments, the glittering treasures, the awe-struck gazes of the world, they would crumble, rust, or be plundered. His name might echo, but even the greatest names eventually fade into myth, then into dust. The ephemeral nature of human accomplishment became a crushing realization. This wasn't mere melancholy, this was a profound, almost cosmic despair. He had pushed the boundaries of human experience, lived out every fantasy, fulfilled every aspiration, and found himself standing. He had chased after every wind, and each time it slipped through his fingers, leaving him with empty hands and a desolate heart. This hevel, this vapor, this meaninglessness wasn't just a philosophical concept to Solomon. It was a personal nightmare, a dark angel that shadowed his every waking moment, mocking his achievements. He saw the cyclical nature of life. What has been will be again. What has been done, generations come and go. The sun rises and sets. Rivers flow to the sea, but the sea is never full. All effort is repetitive, ultimately leading to the same end. Death, the wise man dies just like the fool. The diligent worker ends up no better than the lazy. All are forgotten. This relentless cycle, this grand cosmic treadmill, filled him with an unspeakable. So I hated life, he confessed, because the work that is done under the sun was grievous to me. All of it is meaningless, a chasing after wind. Imagine this profound confession from the wealthiest, wisest, most powerful man of his age. It's a chilling testament to the insufficiency of worldly pursuits. His soul was in turmoil, a maelstrom of disappointment and existential dread. He had lived the ultimate human experiment, and the results were devastatingly conclusive. For him, the answer to, "Is this all there is?" was a resounding no, and what there is amounts to nothing lasting. The whisper of Hevel had become a roar. It was not a sudden revelation, but a gradual soul-searing realization. Each new pleasure, each new conquest, instead of filling the void, merely he was a king, yes, but also a prisoner of his own experience, forced to confront the ultimate limits of human striving. His wisdom, instead of providing comfort, exposed the raw nerves of existence. His wealth, instead of offering security, highlighted the fragility of all material things. He had looked into the abyss, and the abyss had stared back, echoing his own despair. Solomon, in his profound, unsettling conclusions, saw right through the veneer of human progress, predicting with uncanny accuracy the very struggles that plague our modern world. He walked this path thousands of years ago, a solitary figure navigating the labyrinth of more, only to find it led to a dead end. His ancient sorrow is the mirror reflecting our contemporary angst. Consider our own lives. We live in an age of unprecedented connectivity, yet profound isolation. Social media platforms, our digital palaces, promise connection, validation, and a curated narrative of perfect lives. We chase likes, followers, and fleeting moments of online affirmation. We build our digital empires, carefully constructing personas that exude success, happiness, but doesn't this pursuit often feel like building castles in the sand, constantly vulnerable to the shifting tides of trends and the inevitable comparisons that breed envy and inadequacy? We scroll endlessly, bombarded by images of curated perfection, feeling the insidious bite of FOMO, the fear of missing out. Solomon saw this. He experienced the ultimate FOMO, the desire to experience and possess, and he found that even having it all led to the realization that it was all hevel, a breath, a fleeting illusion. He knew the emptiness of the crowd, the loneliness of the spotlight, the superficiality of praise that doesn't touch the soul. Then there is fake consumerism, the relentless craving for the next gadget, the newer model, the trendier experience. We are constantly told that happiness is just one purchase. We acquire, accumulate, and upgrade, convinced that each new possession will fill a void, provide a missing piece. But how often does the initial thrill of a new acquisition quickly fade, replaced by a fresh wave of desire for the next must-have? This is the very cycle Solomon meticulously dissected. He built, he acquired, He indulged only to find that the satisfaction was transient. He saw that the heart of man cannot be satisfied by things, that the eyes are never content with what they see, nor the ears with what they hear. The ever receding horizon of happiness that consumerism promises was something he stared down in its purest form, thousands of years before the first advertisement. And what about the fame carrier ladder fay, the relentless climb for professional success, power, and we burn out, stressed and exhausted, only to find that the view from the summit is often just another view, and the joy of achievement quickly gives way to new pressures and new anxieties. Solomon, the ultimate empire builder, reached the absolute pinnacle of political power, wealth, and influence. He knew the weight of the crown, the ceaseless demands of leadership, the endless projects. He saw that even the grandest achievements, if pursued for their own sake, ultimately lead to the bitter realization that all the toil of man is for his mouth, yet his appetite is not satisfied. The rat race, as we call it, was Solomon's daily reality, and he discovered that even winning it left him feeling like a rat still in the maze. Finally, there is the pervasive existential dread fay that gnaws at the edges of our consciousness. Despite all our advancements, our comforts, our scientific triumphs, many grapple with a profound sense of meaninglessness, a feeling that life lacks inherent purpose, that our existence is just a cosmic accident. We search for grand narratives, for a reason to get out of bed, for something beyond the mundane that can give our lives weight and significance. Solomon, through his exhaustive experiment, he asked the ultimate questions: what is the point of it all? What lasts? What truly matters? His unique tragedy was that he had the means to test every human pursuit, only to find them wanting. He experienced the ultimate first-world problem and came back with a stark, unsettling report without a higher purpose. Everything under the sun is a chasing after wind. He saw our future, our burnout, our digital. He is our ancient guide, standing at the end of every road we travel, shaking his head with a knowing, weary wisdom. But Solomon's journey doesn't end in nihilistic despair. No, that is where the mythological storyteller, the wise king, shifts his narrative, guiding us from the abyss of Hevel to the glimmer of enduring truth. After his exhaustive, soul-crushing experiment, after detailing every disappointment and every fleeting joy, Solomon finally pivots, like a ship turning towards a distant, beckoning lighthouse. He shifts his gaze from under the sun fay, the purely worldly perspective fay, to something beyond, something that transcends the ephemeral. His ultimate conclusion, delivered with the gravity of one who has seen the uttermost depths of human experience, is a beacon in the darkness. When all has been heard, the conclusion is this: fear God and keep his commandments, because this is the whole duty of man. This isn't a sudden, unearned leap of faith. It's the hard-won wisdom of a man who has tried everything else and found it wanting. Fearing God for Solomon wasn't about trembling in terror, but about reverential awe, recognizing the Creator as the ultimate source of meaning, the architect of existence, the one whose purposes are eternal and unyielding. It means living in alignment with his design, acknowledging a divine order that gives weight and purpose to otherwise meaningless actions. It is moving from a self-centered pursuit of pleasure, wisdom, or wealth to a God-centered life of obedience and devotion. This profound shift implies that true meaning is not found in accumulation or sensory indulgence, but in relationship with the divine, in fulfilling the purpose for which we were created. It's a call to look above the sun, to recognize that our earthly pursuits gain significance. Solomon also offers practical guidance for finding joy in the mundane, he notes. There is nothing better for a person than to enjoy their food and drink, and to find satisfaction in their toil. This, too, I saw, is from the hand of God. He emphasizes enjoying the simple gifts of life, fey work, food, companionship, love, fey recognizing them, not as achievements of man, but as gracious provisions from God. These are moments infused with divine grace, anchors in the sea of futility. It's a profound shift in perspective. Instead of pursuing happiness as an end in itself, he suggests that true joy is a byproduct of living a life of gratitude and faithful obedience. It's the quiet satisfaction of a job well done, the simple pleasure of a shared meal, the warmth of genuine connection, all seen as gifts, not entitlement. In this sense, Solomon's journey mirrors a mythical hero's descent into the underworld, and his eventual return, bearing a truth too precious to keep. He wrestled with the nightmare of nihilism, the demonic whispers of despair that tried to convince him all was purposeless. But in his darkest hour, perhaps a quiet conviction, an angelic nudge reminded him of the source of his initial wisdom, the covenant of his father David, the very temple he had built. He remembered that there was a God who saw, a God who knew, a God who had a plan beyond the fleeting cycles of under the sun. The angels, ever watchful, might have simply observed his grand experiment, knowing his ultimate finding, the universe has an architect, and true purpose is embedded in his blueprint for humanity. The final act of Solomon's narrative is an invitation, a guiding hand extended from antiquity to our modern, often bewildered souls. He shows us how to break the chains of vanity, how to escape the golden cage of endless striving. His journey offers not just a critique, but a profound path to healing. First, we must learn to recognize the hevel in our own lives. Where are we chasing after wind? Where are we investing our precious time, energy, and emotions into things that ultimately leave us feeling empty or unfulfilled? Is it the endless pursuit of external validation, the insatiable hunger for material possessions, the relentless climb up a ladder that leads to nowhere truly satisfying? Solomon's wisdom urges us to pause, to take stock, to honestly evaluate what truly brings enduring joy versus fleeting excitement. It is an act of courageous introspection, pulling back the veil of societal expectations and confronting the truth of our own hearts. Second, we are called to phase shift our perspective from under the sun to above the sun. This means reorienting our lives around a higher purpose, a divine perspective that transcends the temporary. For Solomon, this was the fear of God in keeping his commandments. For us, it's about recognizing that our lives are part of a larger, divinely orchestrated narrative. It means finding purpose, not in what we get but in what we give but in what we give in who we ye. It transforms mundane tasks into acts of worship, relationships into opportunities for selfless love, and challenges into pathways for spiritual growth. It's about discovering that meaning isn't something we merely stumble upon. It's something that is made when we align our lives with eternal truths, or received as a gift from a higher source. It is about living not just for this fleeting moment, but for this transformative shift allows us to find true purpose not in the grand external achievements that Solomon meticulously cataloged, but in the quiet internal cultivation of character, compassion, and communion with the divine. It's in the selfless act of service, the genuine connection with another soul, the quiet moments of gratitude for simple blessings. These are the things that accumulate not on earthly ledgers. Solomon's journey from despair to hope, from the pinnacle of worldly achievement to the profound emptiness of hevel, culminates in a radical call to re-evaluate our priorities. He reminds us that the quest for meaning is not a luxury, but a fundamental human need, and that the answers are not found in the superficial, but in the sacred. He saw the illusion of more, and urged us to seek enough, imbued with divine significance. His saddest wisdom in the end offers the most profound comfort. It frees us from the tyranny of endless striving, from the crushing weight of comparison, from the anxiety of not having or achieving enough. It tells us that the universe is not indifferent, and our lives, far from being meaningless, are woven into a grand, purposeful design. It simply asks us to look beyond the fleeting mist, beyond the chasing after wind. If this journey into the heart of an ancient king resonated with your own search for meaning, if Solomon's profound insights into modern struggles have illuminated a path for your own inner growth, then you are not alone. Thousands of years ago, a king with everything saw our future. He offers us a way out of the existential maze, a blueprint for a life of purpose, even in a world obsessed with the ephemeral. That is all for today's video.